Hello 7th graders, here are your guided notes for 1-7 A and B, multiplying and dividing integers. Our objective today is to learn to multiply and divide integers. Make sure that you're putting your name at the top of this page. That way you can receive credit for your work. I was missing a couple names from the last packet, so make sure you are filling that in for me. Our essential question today is, how do we multiply and divide positive and negative integers? We're going to talk about that today. This is a handy table that I would like you to utilize for your practice problems today. It's a good guide for what needs to be happening. So when you multiply two numbers, the signs of the numbers are multiplying to determine whether the product is positive or negative. There's only really one situation when we're going to run up into a negative number when we are multiplying or dividing. Okay? If we have two positive numbers, we know that's 3 times 5. We just know that's always going to be positive. If we're dividing two positive numbers, we know that we're still going to have positive numbers. Okay? If I have one negative number, I know that my product is going to be negative. If I have one negative when I'm dividing, if I have negative 15 divided by 5, I'm going to have a negative quotient. If both of my factors are negative when I'm multiplying, it's going to give me a positive answer. Now the reason why it's going to give me a positive answer is that when I have a negative symbol here for my negative 3 and a negative for the negative 5, those two cancel each other out. Just like when we have two negative symbols while subtracting, or a negative next to a subtraction symbol while adding, or while subtracting, they cancel each other out and becomes addition. So here we can just do, hey, they're going to cancel each other out. I know that it's going to be positive. I can just do it as plain 3 times 5 and have a positive answer of 15. The same thing will occur when I have negative 15 divided by negative 5. Both of my answers are negative, so those cancel. I can just divide just like I would with 15 divided by 5 for an answer that's going to be positive. We're going to use some of the space on the bottom to finish a couple practice problems right now that are not in your practice. Okay? Some things you may run into. So we have an example here. If I have the example of negative 6 times positive 4, I know that if I'm using my table, I have one negative number, so I know that I'm going to have a negative answer, or a negative product. I can then just do 6 times 4, since I know that fact. I know that 6 times 4 is going to give me 24. Since I have one negative number, it's going to be a negative 24. Let's do B. Example B. If I have two negative numbers of negative 8 times negative 5, again, we're going to follow this table up here. I have both are negative. These two negatives cancel each other out, so I know that I'm going to have a positive answer. Then I can just do simply 8 times 5, which would give me positive 40, since I have two negative numbers. Let's try another one. If I have negative 18 divided by 2, I have one negative integer. When I have one negative number, it's going to give me a negative answer. So I can put in my negative symbol right away. Then I can just do 18 divided by 2, which I know is 9. I end up with negative 9. Again, I just had one negative integer. we go to another problem. If I have negative 25 divided by 5, I have one negative number, the negative 25. Remember that this is another way that we can write division problems. Top number being divided by the bottom number. Negative 25 divided by positive 5. I have one negative number, so I know I'm going to have a negative answer. Negative 25 divided by 5. If I know it's going to be negative, I can just divide like normal. 25 divided by 5 I know is 5. And it's going to be negative 5 since I have one negative number. You're going to run into problems like this sometimes as well. 3 times negative 6 minus 12. We're going to need to simplify this equation. So we're going to first change this problem. Whenever I have two negative numbers, I can just change it to an addition problem. Because remember that we always like to add. It's a little easier sometimes for some of us to add than it is to think about subtracting. If I know that they're both going to be negative, it's just going to be a larger negative number. 6 and 12 give me 18. I can add like normal then. I still have my multiplied by 3 out there. 3 times negative 18. I know that this is the same thing. If it's written like this as 3 times negative 18, I can write it out like that. Either way works just fine. If I do 3 times 18, I can split this into two different problems. If I know that 3 times 10 is 30, 3 times 8 is 24, 30 and 24 add together give me 54. I can do that. I know that I'm going to have a negative answer though, because I only have one negative number. Again, I have one negative number. It's going to give me a negative product. So I'm going to have negative 54. You'll see problems like all of these in your practice. Again, if you have problems on the practice problems, make sure you're rejoining the Google Meet or sending me an email to ask those questions. Make sure that you're also summarizing this guided notes. And if you have any questions, write them down here. Make sure that you've copied all these things down as well, as that's how you receive credit for this work. Practice problems today, you have quite a few of them. You have 22 practice problems, I should say, because I pulled another one here. So you have 22 practice problems. Thanks, guys.